minus 9 minutes. Minus 8 minutes. Minus 7 minutes. Minus 6 minutes. Minus 5 minutes. 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
Hey there, hi there. Welcome, everybody, to the RP Show. Hey, listen, I'm just going to say it now. People seem a little punchy and wigged out today, so let's have some fun over the next 2 hours here, all right? On the Game Plus Television Network, we're pleased to report that breaking news, Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast survived Grey Cup. And whoa, he'll be hosting today. That's my de facto stopwatch. My iPhone. All right, let's bring in Kev. Coming up in hour 2 from Sirius XM NHL Radio, Scott Laughlin. And I'm just going to say this right now for Oiler fans. Please don't get triggered because I'm wearing a Lightning quarter zip here today. It's the Oilers at Tampa Bay tonight. Kevin's Canucks are home. I see he's got his Knucklehead sweater on. What's going on, Kevin the Medium from the Hughes Sports Podcast?
I made it back alive and safe from Winnipeg. Liver needs a little bit of a rest. I've got my Tim Hortons coffee. Life is good.
Yeah, I like to hear that. Canada's national drunk. Are they still calling it that? Because they used to. Do they still call the Grey Cup that?
I haven't heard that before.
Okay, well, that was the thing just perpetuated by the old school media, and they're all literally dead and gone. So, okay, let's go. Quick 6 show topics. Let's get going. We're opening with hockey. We'll get to all the other topics as we roll along in the top 6 here. And hang on. I didn't prep you, Kev, on what we were going to talk about, but I knew that you could handle it. The Edmonton Oilers are still searching for their first regulation win since October 28th. The Oilers lost 7-4 to the Washington Capitals last night as Ovi scored his 904th career goal. I watched it, and it was highly entertaining, and I know Oiler fans don't care about entertainment. They want to win. maybe tonight here in Tampa Bay or here in Florida. A rare win for the last-place Calgary Flames. Joel Farabee scored twice as the Flames beat the Buffalo Sabres 6-2 for their sixth victory this season. Tonight, 5 Canadian teams hitting the ice, including the Leafs welcoming the Columbus Blue Jackets after snapping a 5-game losing streak, beating the Blues the other night. The Habs will try to end a 4-game skid at home against the Capitals, and the Oilers visit the Lightning, as I said. Later on, the Ottawa Senators visit the Anaheim Ducks, and Kevin the Medium's Vancouver Canucks entertain the Dallas Stars. I'll just tell the viewers, if they haven't realized yet, Kevin lives in Calgary, but he's from Vancouver, and so we don't talk enough Canucks here. I hear that from the BC people, nor Lions, but I knew that you would handle that. Where are you on the Vancouver Canucks, Kev?
Well, it's been one of those seasons where they're just kind of hanging around again. They're hanging around. Talk about injuries. This team has had every injury possible known to mankind happen to so many different players. It's been insane. A lot of people are blaming, I'll use that word, the condensed schedule. But every team's doing the same thing. So, is it conditioning? Who knows? But my Canucks seem to just want to be mediocre. They just want to sit around, maybe make the playoffs, maybe not, maybe win a first round, get me all excited. It drives you nuts as a fan. Either tank like Calgary is, or make some trades. And like, we need that second line centerman. We don't have it. And without a big change, I think we're going to be stuck in mediocrity for the rest of my days on this earth.
Well, I appreciate the analysis. Think about this little acronym, if that's a TGFC. Thank God for Calgary. Because, going into the season, I had the Canucks picked for last place in the Pacific Division. Well, thank God for Calgary. They're actually in last place, but there is a lot of hockey left to be played. But I texted, and listen, we have our poll question today has got really people going, which we'll get to in a second. I don't think Kevin even knows what that is. But I texted you the other night. The Vancouver Canucks were here in Sunrise. Wild game. 8-5, the Panthers won. My buddy Andrew Imber is the public address announcer for the Panthers. He tweeted, "Help me." The goals were just going so fast. It was chaos. And I said to you and to everybody that if it was a skills competition, the Canucks would win every game. Very, very skilled team. But you know what? They don't play with any emotion. They don't play with you notice that?
Yes.
You notice that?
It drives me nuts. And Jake and I have talked about this on our podcast is I want to see some emotion. I want to see somebody drop the gloves and go crazy. I don't know what it's going to take. I honestly don't. Is it going to take one of the Pedersens to be hurt and be driven into the boards or something for this team to get it, whatever that it is? Because right now they don't have it. They just don't.
Well, Tyler Myers dropped his gloves the other night. Nothing happened. I don't know. Were you watching the game when I texted you, or were you busy?
We were at the airport, so I was listening. We were listening, half watching.
Okay, yeah. One of his teammates got buckled up against the boards. And what do you call Tyler Myers? You have a nickname for him.
Chaos Giraffe.
Okay. Yeah, he dropped his gloves, went after somebody, but it was just a half-hearted. I don't even think he threw a punch. And I'm just like that. There was a lot of things I took away. And it's not like Canucks fans need to hear any more of this, because clearly you all know it. But it's like, can somebody get a spark here and care? I would be insulted if I was a Canucks fan for that reason, because a lot of Canadian NHL fans, as long as our team's showing emotion and trying, they can overlook a lot of things. That's not happening in Vancouver. And I don't know why. Do you know why?
No, and it bugs me because you have like Quinn Hughes, his contract's coming up. Give him a reason to stay. Right now, if I'm Quinn, I'm not staying in Vancouver. It's a disaster.
Yeah. He is playing hard. He's playing hard. By the way,
he always plays hard.
Before we go any further, the poll question is this. It came up this morning on Sirius XM NHL Radio. It's a fun one. Scott Laughlin and I, we used to work together at the Score 25 years ago. And this morning on NHL Radio, he was talking about how home teams should have to wear their white jerseys in the NHL. I'm like, hallelujah. And his partner, Gord Stellick, didn't agree. and they had a little talk about it. Well, that is the poll question today for EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau. Should NHL teams have to wear their whites at home? You just spit it out. Yes, it's a yes from me, and we'll vote on that over the next 2 hours. And Scott Laughlin coming up in the next segment or next hour. I want to know if he ever found out why they don't. I've never heard a good reason why the NHL and the home teams wear the darks. I hate it. I mean, Vancouver's home and roads are very nice. They're both very nice jerseys. But I saw the whites here the other night. I'd rather have seen, similar to what you were wearing. So anyways, we've got NFL Thursday nighter on the way. We've got CFL Grey Cup leftovers. Oh, people are upset the Riders were swearing at their Grey Cup parade. Oh. We'll talk about that. We've got some NBA. We've got some baseball. So we'll be back in a moment. This is the warm-up. We're just warming up, everybody. Kevin, the medium, is with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. RP, your boy RP right here on Game Plus Television. Also, the text line is open, I should tell you, for Western Dodge, 902-518-3033. You're also watching on YouTube Live podcast and listening on 1700 AM Mission Radio.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Are you ready? January 8th to 11th, it all goes down in Moose Jaw at the Yara Center. The Battle on the Prairies. NCAA rules. 25 elite teams. Alberta, Boston, Texas, Mexico, Manitoba, Saskatchewan. All under one roof. Come watch live. Tickets available right at the door. Pay-per-view will be available at ikslive.ca.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Welcome back live, everybody. It is the RP Show on the Game Plus TV network across Canada, 32 U.S. states, going across Nevada in hour 2 as we are picked up on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. We're brought to you in part by Pump Jacks Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jacks Cathedral, Pump Jacks Weyburn. Come early, stay late at the place where friends meet. The poll question is, should NHL teams have to wear their whites at home? Kevin and I both voted yes. From the audience, Carlos in Indianapolis says, for the poll, you shouldn't wear your away jerseys at home. They're home jerseys for a reason. I don't like it when it happens in the NFL where it happens all the time. Well, we, as the Dallas Cowboys, wear whites at home all the time. We're like the only NFL team that does it, but we're the Dallas Cowboys. We do whatever we want. Mark is watching in Prince Albert. He says, I like what the WHL did for a while with the jerseys. First half of the season, they would wear one color at home, and then the second half, the other. Yeah, but then they went away from that. I still haven't got a reason why they don't wear whites at home in the NHL. Scott Laughlin brought it up this morning on NHL Radio. He's joining us next hour to talk about it. Point 2, NFL Week 12 kicks off tonight. The Texans will meet the Buffalo Bills. Houston quarterback Davis Mills is looking for his third straight win. The backup pivot is filling in for the injured C.J. Stroud. The Bills are 7-3 on the season, while the Texans are 5-5. I feel there's going to be huge ratings for the game, but I feel like it's like, me. It's just Buffalo and Houston that really cares about this Thursday night game. I'm going to move on to point 3 because Kevin the Medium is with us from the Hughes Sports Podcast. I have it titled as this, Kev. CFL Grey Cup leftovers swearing. And so here's the thing. I'm very, very, very happy to see my friends, compadres, so drunk with elation that the Rough Riders won the Grey Cup. It's going to last for 6 months. We know how it goes there. I'm happy for Mace. I'm happy for Trevor Harris. I'm happy for Mark Mueller. I'm happy for Mitch Picton, Brett Lawther. It's a great bunch of guys. I'm so happy for them. Noni writes in. She's watching from Calgary. And she says, morning, Rod and Kevin. Wish I'd have run into Kevin at Grey Cup to have a good sports discussion. I hope he cheered for the Riders. And who cares if the Riders swore during their celebration? They're excited, and F-bombs are part of life. People who are offended, get over it. Well, here's the thing. I'll be honest. Number one, I'm kind of watching the coverage, not paying a ton of attention to it, but all of a sudden I see this thing that it was CJME, local radio station in Regina, saying people calling in, Rider fans, upset that the Rough Riders swore on the mic. And I'm, what? Okay. I have more thoughts, but you've been sitting there very patiently for a while. What do you think about this? You're old school like me.
I am, and I constantly am giving Jake a hard time. You have caught me a couple times now on my podcast dropping the F-bomb. Jake is horrible. He's got a potty mouth. I blame it on his mother. But you're going to be on national television, radio. You've got the spotlight on you. Act like you've been there before. Dropping the F-bomb? I don't think it's that cool, to be honest. Am I going to freak out and write in and call into a radio station about it? Probably not. I'm just going to go, ooh. I'm sure Trevor Harris, I'm sure he didn't. And I got to tell this story because you always call me Kevin the Medium. Trevor Harris, is a big God guy, huge God guy. He walks into a room, the energy, the spiritual energy that man puts off blew me away, Rod. I'm focused being the sports guy, not being Kevin the Medium. And all of a sudden I'm like literally put back in my seat. And I was like, whoa, that guy's got it, whatever it is. I'm sitting next to his parents at one point. That's where he gets it from. Very big God people. I made a post. Trevor Harris won me over, and someone asked if I was cheering for the Riders. Yeah, just a little bit. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. It was cool to be able to sit back and actually watch the game and just appreciate every good play.
Yeah. Well, you said the hair stood up on your arm when Trevor Harris walked into the room, and I'm proud to say that Trevor Harris and I are real good friends. Same thing as Cody Fajardo. I just talked with Cody yesterday, another big God guy. If you don't like God, can you at least be nice, folks? Like, we're God people, but just maybe be nice. Trevor's nice. Yes. Cody's nice, But I will also say this, because I was thinking about the swearing thing. And hey, listen, off the air, I'm as bad as anybody. But around the microphone, I won't. And I mean, I'm not judging anybody because I don't like to be judged. But I was thinking about the Panthers Stanley Cup parade here. Paul Maurice got on the mic. I think he hadn't been to bed yet. And on the beach in front of 200,000 people, Paul Maurice, the head coach of the Panthers, grabs the mic and goes, he turned to the team and goes, all right, you effing effers. And I was like, what that underscores to me is simply this. Number one, do what you want. Do what you want. You'll ultimately be judged at the end of the day. Just hope you have more checks on the one side than X's on the other. And I think Paul Maurice is fine. And two, when you win, you can do whatever the F you want. That's what it's teaching kids. Go win. You can do whatever you want for a day.
No repercussions. To me, it's unprofessional to swear when you're live, your mic's live, you've got the spotlight on you. It's just unprofessional. That's how we were taught. Swearing shows that you don't have the vocabulary you need to get your point across. That's old school. You said it. We're old. I'm 61. That's old school. Maybe this new generation, that's their thing. They can drop the F-bomb whenever they want.
Well, none of that surprises me. So what I will say is this, because I emceed two of those exact same rallies, I just sat back and go, you know what? I'm glad we didn't swear. I'm glad we kept it clean. That's what people will remember us and our era for. Nobody's going to remember this swearing down the line either for the Rough Riders, by the way. You saw that I put a post on my Facebook about this. Like, at least we kept it clean. I was just having fun. Poke. And I think everybody knew that. Mayday writes in and says, no one cares when the Jays were swearing, and they didn't even win. Carlos in Indianapolis writes that he says swearing's like a spice. When in the right amount, it adds a needed kick, but too much and you ruin it all. Oh, well, that reminds me, Cody Fajardo did drop the FU, just watch. So yes. I guess when it is poignant, boy, Carlos, stop making sense. Okay, and Laverne in the Frontier City writes, and he says it's called raw emotions. That goes with big victories. Look at Blue Jays skipper John F. Baum Schneider. Sure, it's a mistake, but get over it, people. Well, that is all true, but I can tell you if I dropped an F-bomb right now, my phone would be ringing from the CRTC and the FCC. There is still a law. To take this in a slight different thing, I mentioned this yesterday. You weren't on with me, but Jamar Chase of the Bengals has been suspended for spitting on Jalen Ramsey on Sunday. First NFL player ever suspended for spitting. It's always been a fine. Look at the betting violations now. Guys are having their scrotum nailed to the wall. It's harsher discipline than ever. And I said yesterday, I think it's because the leagues are going, enough, guys. I don't know why, but the discipline's harsher than ever.
Well, you have to draw the line in the stand at some point, because if you don't, then what's next? You got to remember, children are watching. And I mean, I have a potty mouth. I'll be the first to admit it. My kids heard me drop the F-bomb more than once as they were growing up. But there's a line. And you have to teach your kids where that line is, where it's okay to drop the F-bomb every once in a while, not every word, every second word. And I think that's what these leagues are finally doing. The spitting incidents, someone spit on me, that's the ultimate. I'll probably snap.
It's against the
law. You
law.
have to draw the line somewhere. Fining people wasn't working. They were still doing it. Now, okay, you're not listening, so we're going to suspend you. It's like the old days when we were in trouble. Smack with a wooden spoon. Oh, you didn't listen? You're grounded. Well, things need to escalate if you're not learning.
Well, and it's not a topic I expected to get into here today, but I'm kind of glad that we did. I said that you were born and raised in Vancouver. When did you move? I've asked you that. It was like 20 years ago you moved to Alberta?
Yeah, what was it? 2002. We moved to Kelowna in 99. 98, and then out to Calgary in 02, 03.
Well, I mean, I was saying earlier that people were a little punchy today. They seem to be good now. They've settled down since we went to air, but it's don't look to sports as how to run your life, because it's very confusing. And for damn sure, don't look at politicians, and don't look at, corporations and industry. Don't do that. Don't look at them. Because with the sports, the reason I ask about when you lived in Vancouver, remember when Marty McSorley baseball batted Donald Brashear across the side of the head? And I was watching the game. It was the longest. You were watching it? If you did that in the street, you're going to jail for 5 years, probably.
Yes.
But on the hockey ice, I think he got 22 games. I might be way off, but I know it was the longest suspension in NHL history. So my point is, you can do stuff on the field of play that you can't do outside on the street, and that's not right. And I just feel like these leagues are now you just said it, they're drawing the line and they're putting their foot down. And I just don't know what happened to push them to that. That's kind of what the question is that I haven't been able to get.
Well, and I mean, you look at hockey, I mean, fighting, if you and I got into a fight on the street, we could go to jail. That's assault. Yet in hockey, that's allowed. It's a bizarre switch. I've often thought there's so many things that has happened in a game of hockey that you look at and go, oh, you'd be in jail for like a long time. You've ruined your life. In hockey, you get a slap on the wrist. So you're right. If you're growing up and you're young, don't look at hockey or any sport for that matter as a way to act, because it's not right. But you're right. The leagues are cracking down. They have to. At some point, that spitting thing, just every time I see it, I'm like, that's the ultimate insult gross to me. If someone spit on me, I think I would snap. I've never had anybody spit on me. If they did, whew.
Yeah, it would be very, very, very hard to show restraint. However, I mean, as a guy who worked in sports for years with teams, I can tell you how many times we got on a plane or on a bus and a player or a coach would take off his jacket and there would just be spit gobs all over it. I'm not going to tell you what cities we were in, but we were the road team. And our fans were no saints either. Shoot. Some of ours were the worst. Anyways, Wilfen Steinbach writes in. He says on the Western Dodge text line, hi, Rod and Kevin, no swearing would be nice, and wear a shirt. And he's a Rider fan, but this all reminded me of the Chris Streveler fur coat, shirtless, when the Bombers won the Grey Cup in 2019. Whatever you take, that's football players and hockey players too. Take your shirts off. Who cares? Vintage Sasko writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, hi, Reverend Rodney and legendary K-Dog. While cussing isn't cool, my household swear jar is paying for my daughter's tuition. LFG Saskatchewan, woo, signed Effin Sasko. He has clearly not come down yet from the Rough Riders winning the Coupe de Grey on Sunday. By the way, just before we break, we got one more session with Kev, one more section. So if anybody has any questions or comments for him, please get them in. But I did talk to Moose this morning. He's in Palm Desert, California right now. He will come on Friday. He is obliged to preview the Vanier Cup, which will be played at Mosaic Stadium between Saskatchewan and the Montreal Carabins, the Saskatchewan Huskies and the Montreal Carabins. So, yeah, Moose will be with us tomorrow, just for those that have asked, because some people were asking if we could get Moose on to do that. 902-518-3033 is the Western Dodge text line. Let's get it going. Kevin the Medium and I will return in a moment. You're watching the RP show here live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV. Scott Laughlin coming up next hour from NHL Radio, by the way. YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio.
Country's hottest party is coming. James Barker Band, Bud Light Buckle Up Tour 2025. Live across Canada with special guests Ryan and Rory. Yeah, let's keep it November 20th, Temple Garden Center. Tickets on sale now at Temple Garden Center box office or online at zasktix.ca. James Barker Band Live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
We do it every day here. The Junior Hockey Report for the Mad Greek Eatery in Moose Jaw. Two standout former Warriors who went on to long NHL careers are going to return to the Friendly City this weekend for the Warriors and Legends Hall of Fame. Forward Kyle Brodziak and defenseman Johnny Boychuk will be inducted into the 2025 Warriors and Legends Hall of Fame banquet Friday night in the Jaw, and then at the Temple Gardens Center. Well, there, and then Saturday night, there's a game. The pesky Warriors against the Swift Current Broncos. So you're going to Moose Jaw. If you haven't yet, get your tickets. Stop in at the Mad Greek and say hey to Johnny Atreides. He is the Mad Greek, and he says that you guys are all doing that. Go ahead and just bug his ass. Tell him you saw us talking about him on the RP show. Experience authentic Greek flavors right in Moose Jaw at the Mad Greek Eatery, open until 11 p.m. Kevin the Medium's with us here for only one more segment, and there's a few things he wants to get off his chest, including... it's fun talking about people being riled up that the riders were swearing at the Grey Cup parade on the microphone the other day. And you said that you would have filled a swear jar back in the day. What was it?
It was the 2004 playoffs, round one, Calgary versus Vancouver. And we had a swear jar. Every time I swore, I had to put $1 in. Every time the kids swore, they had to put a nickel or a dime in, whatever it was. So Jake and I are watching the game. Amanda, my daughter's upstairs. And every time I swore, she would yell down, "That's $1. That's $1." Well, it was like, I think it was up to $25 by the time the game went into overtime. And she yelled down, I'm rich. And I said, tell you what, honey, it's going into overtime. I'll just sign the house over to you.
Yeah, no, well, I tell you, it's, yeah. With the swearing, there's only one time I was telling Brent from Wellington, Florida, the only time I've ever sworn on social media ever, anything that got me so riled up was when the Regina Pats were in the league final in 2017 in the WHL, and I swore, and I regretted it because people came after me. Oh, you shouldn't be swearing. You don't swear. Oh, my God. Hour one of the RP show is brought to you by Suds Full Service Car Wash. Fuel your fleet's finesse with Suds Regina's unbeatable cleaning packages. They'll shine like new every time. Visit sudsregina.com. Just moving along, you're not going to think, Kev, that you will have an opinion on the NBA, but you're actually going to. Hang on. Point 4, the quick 6. And by the way, point 1 was NHL from last night. Point 2 is Thursday Night Football tonight, Bills and Texans. Point 3 was the CFL news, Grey Cup leftovers, which I'm not totally done with that yet. And point 4, the red-hot Toronto Raptors are off tonight after yesterday's 121-112 win in Philadelphia. Brandon Ingram had 22 points and 5 assists as Toronto improved to 10-5 in the season with a 5th straight win. What? Settle down, Raptors. Nobody told you. Anyway, you're supposed to be bad. But anyways, I heard on the radio this morning here, and by the way, the Panthers are home to New Jersey tonight. Nobody's talking about it because it's South Florida. They're talking about the NBA. And they said star NBA players, whatever that group is, star NBA players have missed 200 games already this season due to load management, just being rested and missing games, or legitimately being hurt. And I'm like, I don't follow the NBA enough to know. Well, LeBron just came back. He just started his season on the weekend. So there's one. But there's other guys getting rests. And I mean, I didn't even notice. So I know there are NBA fans that watch this show, and I put this to you. I mean, you're a sports fan, Kev. You don't follow the NBA any more than I do, probably far less. But what do you think when you hear that? The star players have missed 200 games total already.
That word triggers me, load management. What the heck is load management? Demko, the Canucks goalie, was off with load management. What does that mean? How can you miss 200 games? Yes, how much of that was legitimate injury? Let's say half. Okay, so there's 100 just resting because it's a hard job. Come on, you're being paid. I mean, the NBA, you're being paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to play the game. As you know, my passion is the CFL. Those guys don't make millions of dollars, and they're out there every day hurt.
Yep.
To the point where they could injure themselves for life, and they're still playing. Load management, give it a rest.
Well, you know, as I think of that, I'm a CFL guy too, but I'm an NHL fan, an NFL fan. I'm like, do you guys not want to play? Is there not a onus that you are getting paid millions, so you should maybe go out there and earn it? Like, I don't understand. And as the owners sit back, they must be looking at the bottom line going, well, it's not hurting us financially at all. But I've heard stories of people that have traveled thousands of miles because we are in a different era of time. Like, kids are fans of Giannis Antetokounmpo of the Milwaukee Bucks. I've heard of people from Western Canada flying all the way to Milwaukee to see the Greek Freak play, and he's not playing because of load management. If I'd flown that far, oh my God, I would go down and strangle him or the coach. What?
Yes.
What? It's one thing to be hurt. It's another to take the night. But I don't see the outrage from anybody.
No, it's acceptable. Demko was off for, I think, 2 games, maybe 3 games, load management. And I'm like, load management? You play hockey. Come on. You get to play what every Canadian kid wants to do, and you get paid very well to do it. Put your beeping skates on and play the beeping game.
Yeah, well, like I say, don't you want to play? I don't understand. We only got a couple minutes left with Kev, so let me put this a lid on this, and you'll be back tomorrow for Football Friday. But do you want to put a lid on the 112th Grey Cup? I've heard nothing but fantastic things about the festival and all the rest. Some people wrote in here bitching today, but that's just people. What's your synopsis?
Both Jake and I were blown away the way we were treated, the way other press treated us, the way the CFL treated us, it really was probably one of the best experiences that I can think of since Jake and I started this little podcast 3 years ago now. We'll be coming up to 3 years. Everything ran so smoothly. They had shuttling us around everywhere. They had meals for us. It was well done. As far as the festival, and there's people complaining they couldn't get tickets, blah, blah, blah. Sorry to be so successful. Oops. Could they have done it differently? Sure. But you know what? I enjoyed the heck out of it. Riders, I've said it before, Rider fans are a little bit different. And you warned me. I wasn't expecting what I saw, what I experienced. It was amazing. Like I said, my liver needs a rest. I got a couple of weeks before I go away again. I can rest.
Yeah, well, I've been saying this for years, not since I've been doing this show, which is in year 7. But you may not like what I have to say, but I'm not lying. People may not like the truth. People don't like the truth. This is a mild dose of the truth. But the CFL wants the Riders in the Grey Cup for what Kevin just said. Like it was like Thursday. Kevin's like, I can't believe how many Rider fans are here. I'm like, whoa, you've seen nothing yet. And now that I've gotten out and I've been to college football national championships. I've been to Super Bowls, Stanley Cup final. What the Rider fans bring is on par with all of those. And you saw
it was above. It was just one of those experiences where you're just like, wow. But I've been to 3 Grey Cups now, and it's always really cool because you'll have Rider fans hanging out with Blue Bomber fans, high-fiving, hugging with Argo fans, Hamilton fans, BC fans. Everybody's wearing their colors. It was a very cool experience. Didn't see anybody fighting, didn't see anybody yelling or screaming at each other. I think the whole thing from halftime show to the finish was, what more could you ask for?
My mind's flashing to all these things. I've been to like 23 Grey Cups or whatever, but I'm like, I don't ever remember seeing a fight at one ever. And believe me,
no,
I experienced every party. Don't worry. I saw it all. And I never saw one fight ever. It's everything that you just said. So I'm glad that it was the revelry like that. I know a lot of people had a tough time accepting the Angus Reid poll results that said the CFL's popularity is at an all-time low. 16% of Canadians saying they're CFL fans. There it is in black and white. And the Angus Reid isn't doing it to make anybody look. It's fact. So listen, that's awesome that it was great. But let's not put our feet up and think that the work's all done. Because there's still a lot of work to be done for the CFL to raise its profile again. Anyways, Kev, great job. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, my friends.
Okay, we'll get to these comments. Jeff, the Stamps fan, something woke him up out of his chair. Oh, we got a lot to get to. Sports update. Scott Laughlin coming up in hour 2 from the Sirius XM NHL Radio Network. We'll be back right after this here on Game Plus TV.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, the RP show continues. Hope you're having fun like I am here, everybody. We've hit on something, as usual, which I didn't plan to. We got a topic come up that I did not expect. For those that just started watching the show, I used to, 1,622 episodes ago, sit back at the night before the show and think about, what are we going to talk about tomorrow? That lasted like 3 days. I'm like, why? Let's just get on the air and figure out where it goes. Takes a lot of sack to do that, but I'm not afraid. Regarding Grey Cups and CFL versus NFL, but my broadcasting mentor, I don't mind saying, Kevin Gallant, is watching right now on Game Plus TV. Hi, Kevy. He says, Saskatchewan Roughriders home game equals NFL home game. Any venue for game presentation and overall experience. I've been to many NFL games. I would agree with that, but on a smaller scale. I mean, the parties around us, they're just not as big, not as many people, but you're right. It's a mini NFL, no doubt. But one thing I realized when I first started going to NFL games 15 or so years ago, every NFL game is a Grey Cup. Everyone, everywhere. Flyovers, parades, bands, which is cool, for sure. And so when I say we hit on something, and I'm glad I brought this up with Kev, I heard it on the radio this morning here on one of the all sports stations. They were talking about star NBA players have missed a combined 200 games already this year, and the NBA regular season is only 3 weeks old. Nobody complaining about this? I mean, I don't really care. I'll go to probably 2 NBA games this season. Robin, though, and my point is, what if you flew across the continent to go watch your kid's favorite team and the Stars not playing, which has happened. Heard about it. Robin from Fort McMurray writes in and says, a friend of mine and I took our 10-year-old boys to Winnipeg to see the Montreal Canadiens and both cried when they sat Patrick Roy. I understand. That right, and in that case, what are you going to do? But it reminds me of 1984. My dad loaded up the van and took us, his 3 boys, and Mom to Edmonton to watch the Edmonton Oilers in a 2-game set against the St. Louis Blues. And Grant Fuhr didn't play. I was ready to kill somebody. I was like 9. They're damn lucky I like Moger too, but I wanted to see Grant Fuhr. I never saw him play either game. Greg Millen was at the other end. You never forget these things. So, what are you saying? This isn't new? Is that what you're saying? Okay. Ray is watching in Scarborough, Ontario on the Game Plus television network, and he says, in the NBA, the players run the league. You got to wonder how much the players actually love the game. And I guess that's maybe why I don't follow it. I was dealing with a real estate agent last year in the Queen City, and he had clearly no idea who I was or what I did for a living. And I said, what sports are you into? He goes, NBA. I'm like, in Regina? He goes, oh, yeah, I went to Toronto for a conference, went to a Raptor game, fell in love with it. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, then that explains why you're not watching my show. We don't talk a lot NBA here. And again, don't you want to play? Hockey players, number one, and football players a close second. You got to pull them off the field. Even when they've, but to lose an appendage and they want to still. Ronnie Lott, great friend of mine, San Francisco 49ers icon. They took his pinky finger off so that he could play. The doctor, Ronnie told me that story as I'm talking to you right now. The doctor in the locker room at Candlestick Park. So, I'm sorry, Mr. Lott, we're going to have to take you to the hospital to fix this. What are you talking about? No. What are the other options? Well, we could take it right off. Take it off. And they did. Let's ask Ronnie Lott what he thinks about load management. Anyways, we were talking about swearing publicly. Of all the things that have fried me in my life, never has it been swearing on the air. I just don't have it in me. But the Rough Rider, some Rider fans upset that on the mic there were some F-bombs dropped. Glenn in Medicine Hat writes in, he says, swear jars? I'll put $1,000 in January 1st and have to top up during the summer. Oh, you're putting the money in first because you know you're going to swear, so it's just like, just deduct me. I got it. And to be frank, I don't really care whether they swear or not. I'm just glad that when we had those events, we didn't. It's nice to be remembered that way. But I still think about the Panthers here, and Paul Maurice dropped a few. I'll say it again. But the moral of the story of it all to me is win, and you can do whatever you want for probably about 24 hours. That's the key here. Kids, winning matters. That's number one. And then after that, you can figure it out. But you can win and you can do whatever you want. Sports Update is brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today. Shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The quarter mark of the NHL season arrives tonight with a dozen games on the schedule. The Edmonton Oilers continue their road trip with a stop in Tampa Bay. Montreal, home to Washington, and Toronto entertains Columbus. Later on tonight, Ottawa visits Anaheim, and Vancouver welcomes Dallas. I know we do talk a lot of Western Canadian teams and so forth for obvious reasons, but for the Habs fans, because I do know we have a lot of viewers out there in Quebec and the Atlantic, which the Habs is their team. Maritimes has the Cinderella pumpkin hit midnight or however that works? Did the glass slipper break for the Habs? Because it just feels like they're not, but they were for the first month of the season. Tell me I'm wrong. Stats are showing that is the case. Week 12 of the NFL season kicks off tonight in Houston. Texans will meet the Buffalo Bills. Houston quarterback Davis Mills is looking for his third straight win. I don't think a lot of us saw that coming, but a good defense can make quarterbacks look real good. The backup pivot is filling in for the injured C.J. Stroud. Bills 7-3, Texans 5-5. Worthwhile watching for sure, but I'll be at American Bank Arena tonight watching the Florida Panthers and New Jersey Devils, and that'll be big fun. Curling fans are counting down the hours. The Montana's Canadian Curling Trials kick off Saturday in Halifax. Many teams are practicing today ahead of the Olympic qualifier. 8 men's teams and 8 women's teams are in the field. The winning rinks will represent Canada at the Milan Cortina games. Just 4 games on tap in the NBA tonight. The Raptors are idle after earning their 5th straight win Wednesday in Philadelphia. Orlando welcomes the LA Clippers tonight, and Atlanta visits San Antonio. 76ers are back in action at Milwaukee, and Memphis is home to Sacramento. Again, that is the sports update for Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store, Moose Jaw. Are you looking for the hottest fan gear? It's where I get mine. Swing by Ultimate Fan Zone Sports Store or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca, where real fans get their gear. I bristle at the whole idea or mention of real fans. What exactly is a real fan? Is it the ones that keep going to the games no matter how much their team sucks? Is that, I'm a real fan? Or are they the ones that vote with their wallet and I'm like, I am not buying another ticket if they change these rules? Is that a real fan? I don't know. Tony is watching in the Bridge City. 902-518-3033. He writes in on the Western Dodge text line. He says, this whole load management thing that was born in the NBA and possibly seeping its way into other sports is very concerning. Nice use of the term seeping, Tony. He says, especially with the betting aspect of sports being so prevalent and such a huge part of the sporting landscape. The horse is out of the barn, and how does it get corralled back in? Interesting times ahead. Oh, and still reveling in the rider's win. I will tell you this, not just you, Tony, but everybody. There was a point that we didn't get to in my quick 6 show topics. Well, I'll just read it right now. It's only a couple lines. Point 5. Major League Baseball says it will comply with the U.S. Senate Committee's request for documents on gambling investigations. The request comes after the indictments of Cleveland pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, who are accused of taking bribes to rig pitches. They have pleaded not guilty. Where is Major League Baseball in this? And I'm just sitting here going, thank God I don't bet. Thank God I don't bet. Thank God I don't bet. Sometimes I'm starting to even feel guilty betting a lunch with my friend Chris from the Bronx. I mean, and yet, I watch the NHL on TNT and I see business bets. Paul B. saying, how come he can? Doesn't matter. I learned that very early on in the recovery world. Doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. It matters what you're doing. And when Mark Sanchez lost his job after a drunken escapade in Indianapolis just a couple of months, what was it, 5-6 weeks ago? No second chance for Mark Sanchez. Gone from Fox. I said the punishment now is harsher than ever. How did this happen and why? Thank God I don't drink. Thank God I don't drink. Thank God I'm not doing stupid stuff. By the way, Hour 1 brought to you in part by CoolBet. Claim your welcome bet bonus up to $200 with the promo code RP200 at coolbet.com. Canadian viewers only. Okay. Loving to get your NHL questions and comments in for our guest next hour, Scott Laughlin. I'm very honored to have him. Listen to him every morning on Sirius XM NHL Radio, him and his compadre, Gord Stellick. And Scotty will be with us. He spawned today's poll question. Should home teams have to wear their whites at home? And last I checked, over 60% of respondents saying yes. I want to find out from Scott if he ever got a reason why they don't anymore. For instance, this is what Vegas wears at home. I mean, that's not bad, but I like the whites at home. I like to see the visiting team's darks. It used to be a thing. So get your questions and comments in 902-518-3033, and we will return after this brief timeout. Smoke them if you got them. We'll be right back. We're live across Canada on the Game Plus TV network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Let's go. It's the RP Show, everybody. Hello. Get comfortable. It's going to be 1 hour here now of a heck of a lot of fun. Coming up on today's program from Sirius XM, NHL Radio, Scott Laughlin, former co-worker of mine at the Score Sports Network. He's doing great things at Sirius XM, NHL Radio. I listen to him every morning. And as I think about this, I'm going to change up our quick six show topics here. Hi. I'm going to say it right now. I just don't want Edmonton Oilers fans to be triggered by what I'm wearing today. The Oilers are visiting the Tampa Bay Lightning as one of 12 NHL games. It's a very busy night, and calling a few audibles here on the program in this segment. I think I'm going to do my NHL breakaway picks. And I was going to open with the NHL, but let's open with the NFL briefly. It's not a very tantalizing Thursday night matchup. Point one of the quick six show topics is Thursday Night Football. Week 12 kicks off tonight in Houston. The Texans meeting the Buffalo Bills. And I feel like this is a game. This is not of national intrigue. Okay? Houston football fans excited about it. Bills fans around the world, but that's about it. Houston quarterback Davis Mills looking for his third straight win. The backup pivot is filling in for the injured C.J. Stroud. Bills, though, on a run, 7-3, legit Super Bowl contenders. Hold me to this. I said a Bills-Detroit Super Bowl. I'm not backing off on that. But isn't it interesting that as the longer the NFL season goes, I feel like there's more contenders instead of less. You know what I mean? Usually the field narrows as we get closer to the playoffs, and it's getting wider, i.e. the Colts, i.e. the Broncos, teams that nobody saw come, the Patriots. Yeah. But the Bills are in that. the Texans are not, have fun with a Thursday night game, because now I'm going to move on to hockey. And we'll just a couple highlights of Wednesday night in the National Hockey League. The Edmonton Oilers are still looking for their first regulation win since October 28th. They lost 7-4 to the Washington Capitals last night as Alex Ovechkin scored his 904th career goal. But no time to worry about that if you're the Oilers, because they're on the ice at Tampa tonight in one of 12 games. But hang on. A rare win for the last place Calgary Flames Wednesday night. Joel Farabee scored twice as the Flames beat the Buffalo Sabres 6-2 for just their 6th victory this season. We're going to talk about all of this with Scott Laughlin coming up in the next segment. And 5 Canadian teams are on the ice tonight. I'm reading a story from the Canadian press. For obvious reasons, they always accentuate the Canadian teams. The Toronto Maple Leafs host the Columbus Blue Jackets after snapping a 5-game streak. The Montreal Canadiens will try to end a 4-game home slide when they welcome Ovi and the Caps. What happened to the Habs? I asked earlier if Cinderella's glass slipper has turned into a pumpkin or whatever. I think it's over. Maybe not. Maybe there's been a dip, and I hope for Montreal's sake it is just a dip, but they're not the team that they were a month ago, that's for sure. Orders at Tampa, as I said, and the Ottawa Senators visiting the Anaheim Ducks. Also, the Vancouver Canucks entertain the Dallas Stars. And in hour one, we are currently on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada, but also on Game Plus TV across Canada and 32 U.S. states. In hour one, Kevin the Medium was co-hosting with me from the Hughes Sports Podcast. You could check it out. They focus on the Vancouver Canucks there. That's their team. And I said I watched them here in Sunrise on Monday night. They lost 8-5 to the host Florida Panthers. And I'm like, this team... Ooh, if I was a Canucks fan, I'd be pissed. I would be pissed. The Canucks play with no emotion. They didn't that night anyways. Tyler Myers dropped his gloves, so that's at least nice. He didn't throw a punch, but yeah, the Canucks aren't getting better. And if it was a skills competition, they would win every game, but it's not. It's the National Hockey League. Now, where was I? The poll question today is spawned by our guest, who will be joining us next, Scott Laughlin from Sirius XM NHL Radio. I knew there's many reasons why Scott and I get along, but we see things the same way. He was talking this morning with his co-host Gord Stellick about why don't NHL teams wear white jerseys at home anymore? That used to be a thing. And if you are a hockey historian, which a lot of us just love history of the game, it was born, I was led to believe, from the 50s and 60s that when teams were on the road in the National Hockey League, they wore their dark jerseys for laundry purposes and so forth. Maybe you wouldn't always have time to wash the jerseys in between games on a road trip, so let's just wear the darks, because if there's some blood on it or somebody spilled some coffee on it or whatever, nobody will notice. The darks. Somewhere along the way, that got changed, and now the home teams wear the darks, and the road teams wear the whites, and we don't like that, Scott and I. And his partner, Gord, said, well, that ship has sailed. They're not going back, but should they? Let me just check the poll. That's the poll for EMJ Marketing Elite Speakers Bureau, by the way. Check them out at emjmarketing.com and peruse the roster of their elite public speakers. I'm one of those. 63% saying yes, home teams should have to wear their white jerseys in the National Hockey League. You know, I get it. In Vegas, people watching us on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network, that's hot. That's very nice. But you know what? Other cities all around the NHL should be subjected and be able to enjoy that. Instead, they get the whites like every other team. And yeah, I don't understand. Anyways, it's not that big a deal, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. Another theme that came up as I roll along, like I said, calling an audible here. Point one Thursday Night Football tonight. Week 12 kicks off. Point two, the NHL. Last night's games, tonight's games. If I could talk myself out of time here, I'll make my picks later in this segment, but I feel like we'll have time. Point three will now be the NBA. The red-hot Toronto Raptors are off tonight after yesterday's 121-112 win in Philadelphia. Brandon Ingram had 22 points and 5 assists as Toronto improved to 10-5 on the season, with a 5th straight win. Again, somebody tell the Raptors, what are you doing? You're not supposed to be good. I understand that it is early. The Milwaukee Bucks host the 76ers tonight without star forward Giannis Antetokounmpo. And this was the point. This kind of fun, not so fun theme throughout the program today. I heard on the radio this morning, the crew was talking about this stat. We're 3 weeks into the NBA regular season, and star NBA players, whatever that group is, where there's 30 teams, each team has a star, you would hope, maybe a couple more. So that's like 50 players have missed a total of 200 games due to injury or load management already this season, 3 weeks into the season. And I'm like, I'm not the biggest NBA guy. We don't sit here and talk about it. I'll go to 2 games this year in the NBA. I'm going to go Christmas Eve. I know the Milwaukee Bucks are here. I don't care if Giannis Antetokounmpo is playing or not, but I know a lot of people would care. And I know people that have traveled across the continent to go to Milwaukee to watch them play, and he's not playing, whether he's legitimately hurt or he's just taking a break. And nobody seems to care. And number one, the owners in the NBA are, how they would look at it is, what's the bottom line? Did we make money last year? Yes, we did. What are we bitching about? Right, I forgot. The thing that I don't really understand about all of this is from the player's perspective. Don't you want to play? Because frankly, I come from the hockey and football world where you got to put a bullet in these guys to get them not to play. What do you mean load management? Goalies. Sergei Bobrovsky here wants to play every game. Everyone. And that's just one guy. They all do. What do you mean load management? My ass. Football is a close number 2. And now that I work in baseball, NCAA, while not as tough, still tougher than this. Point, that turned into a cattle call. Point 4, Major League Baseball says it will comply with a U.S. Senate committee's request for documents on gambling investigations. The request comes after the indictments of Cleveland pitchers Emmanuel Clase and Luis Ortiz, who are accused of taking bribes to rig pitches. They have pleaded not guilty. Not Major League Baseball, those 2 players. So, to the bat phone, i.e. the YouTube feed, those that are watching live right now, Navy Dawn writes in. He says, gambling will be the death knell of pro sports if this is not corralled. I think the athletes are making so much money that they are using gambling and the chance of being caught as an adrenaline rush. Just glad that I don't bet. I'll say it again. I know that's probably not popular in Las Vegas or with our betting company. It just it works for me. Jeff in Toronto writes in. He says, I'll do fantasy baseball with buddies from high school, and that's it. I don't know how people put money on games. I like to watch sports to de-stress, not add more stress, right? I guess that's why you found a home here, Jeff from Toronto, with this show, because we see things the same way. I'm too cheap to gamble. I sit here and say, I work hard for my money. I'm not going to throw it away. And the other thing is the whole idea of paying for picks, which since I moved to South Florida 5 years ago, I got to know some guys that not only have made a career out of selling their picks for games, they've made an unbelievable amount of money for themselves and also for other people selling their picks. I had a guy, Teddy. He hosts a betting show. It airs just before ours, our Panthers and Lightning show that we do, the Cats and Bolts podcast. Teddy, he leaned on the rail of his truck, box rail, yesterday and got going on about how college basketball is the easiest sport to make picks on and the reasons why and why it's so popular and why they've made so much money doing it. And I'm like, oh okay. Point being, I've said this on this program before, I don't like offering my picks to anybody because I don't want to cost anybody else their money. And I don't know why. I pay lawyers, I pay accountants, I pay money managers. That's for my benefit. If I can't figure out what bets to make, I'm not going to pay some other guy. I'm just not going to bet. Call me crazy. Well, and by the way, Navy Dawn writes in, and Carlos in Indianapolis as well points out it's 11 minutes after the hour. Thank you, Carlos. Expect the best. Just expect a positive outcome to your current quagmire. Give it a shot. What do you got to lose? Navy Dawn says, I don't bet either. And I'm sick of the betting ads during the games. Well, what I will say about that, as a guy here who's been through, if you say therapy, people think you're cuckoo. It's called cognitive behavioral therapy. Changed the way I thought. So I don't get wound up. You don't see me sitting here ranting and raving like so many guys that sit on your screen. No, I don't get wound up about betting ads. They are annoying, but I find a way to not focus on it. Who cares? Yeah, it's just when it comes on, I'm like, whatever. Think about something else. That's all. You didn't ask. You didn't ask. I'm just passing it along. Speaking of all of this, before Scott Laughlin joins us from Sirius XM NHL Radio, here's our NHL picks for tonight. We do it breakaway bets. I call it sport betting. It's like sport fishing here in Florida. You catch the fish, you throw it back. We make our picks. We don't put money on it. Everybody wins. Columbus at Toronto tonight. Dub for the Leafs. New Jersey Devils here at Florida tonight. They're going to be a hell of a game. I'm going to take the Devils. Don't tell the Panthers, okay? St. Louis at Philadelphia. Classic matchup there. Philly, something's wrong with the Blues. Islanders at Detroit. Sneaky good game of the night there. I think I'm going to take the Wings, the leaders of the Atlantic Division. Washington at Montreal. Habs looking to snap a 4-game home slide. Caps just played last night. Got to be a Habs win tonight in the Centre Bell. Oilers at Tampa Bay. It's a win for the Oil. Scott says they're getting a goalie. He'll tell us about that next. Seattle at Chicago. But odd. It's a dub for the Hawks. New York Rangers at the Colorado Avalanche. An easy win for the Avs. You heard it here first. The Vegas Golden Knights at Utah. A blossoming rivalry there in the NHL. The Golden Knights and the Utah Mammoth. I think I'm going to take Vegas to win that one. If you want to call me a homer pick, go ahead, because we're on Nevada television. I've been called worse. LA Kings at San Jose. We'll call this the Macklin Celebrini night. Win for the Sharks. Dallas at Vancouver. Definitely the Stars. And Ottawa at Anaheim. I got Anaheim in my top 5 teams in the NHL. 7 wins in their last 10. Let's go with the Ducks. I'll say it one more time. Scott Laughlin joining us next from Sirius XM NHL Radio. Laverne writes in from the Frontier City on the Western Dodge text line. He says, here's a thought. Maybe the Maple Leafs and Oilers should do a head coach trade. Knobloch for Berube. Has that ever happened anywhere? I don't think so. And I don't think this will be the first. On the jersey thing, Kirk's watching on Game Plus TV in Toronto. He says, hi, Rod. If you go back to the 60s, home teams wore their dark jerseys. They switched to white around 1970-71. And now, you clearly weren't watching earlier. I said this was, if you're a hockey historian, 40s, 50s, 60s, that was what it was. The road teams wore the darks, and it had to do with travel and now no time to wash the jerseys. And what do we all know? Wear dark when you travel. If you spill on it, you're good. Same thing applies here, I think. So we got a lot to get to the bottom of when Scott Laughlin joins us next. We're live across Nevada here on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network, across Canada and 32 U.S. states on Game Plus TV. Also, YouTube Live, podcast, and 1700 AM Mission Radio. Last chance to get your questions in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, as the RP Show continues here on the Silver State Sports Entertainment Network and Game Plus Television. Producer Corey, just tell me, have you had any contact? Can you see Scott Laughlin? Oh, we got him. Okay, there he is. We got you, Scott. We're live on the air, my brother, from Sirius XM NHL Radio. There you go. We'll there we go. We're live, Scott. How you doing, my guy? Hey, Scott, can you? Yeah, I understand. Yeah. Hi, Scott. Do you hear us? You can put up the screen if you want, Corey. And I will dip into a sports update, and please give him a call, and you guys can sort that out. New York Giants rookie Abdul Carter is eager to move past his public punishment for missing a walkthrough last week. Carter was benched for the first defensive series against Green Bay by interim coach Mike Kafka. Carter disputed a report that he was sleeping in the team facility and argued he was doing recovery instead. The number 3 pick in the draft is expected to be back in the starting lineup Sunday at Detroit. Carter is still looking for his first full sack in the NFL. Kafka said he's proud of how the Penn State product has handled the situation. What an odd and bizarre time in sports right now. And I was just thinking the other day, with all the talk of the quarterbacks at the top of the drafts, or the ones that are supposed to be going at the top, Travis Hunter, a non-quarterback, but went high at last year's draft. Cam Ward going number 1 overall from the Miami Hurricanes to Tennessee. I was like, how come we haven't heard much about Abdul Carter, who went number 3? And now we're hearing he still doesn't have a sack yet. And you wonder why New York football fans are so aggrieved. It's one thing for the Jets to trade off Sauce Gardner, Quinnen Williams, and get picks back. But if you're going to blow the picks, I understand that's the Giants, but the Jets are no better. Ooh, you can see why they're as upset as they are. Was talking to a guy in Vegas the other day about Vegas sports and what's going down there in the town. Obviously, the Golden Knights are hot. The Raiders, while not winning, still sell out every game. And he said, hey, the Grand Prix's coming. And I'm like, already? Again? Lando Norris is set to tie David Coulthard as the most tenured driver in McLaren history during the Las Vegas Grand Prix. The 26-year-old British driver will make his 150th career start, a milestone he's proud to reach. He'll
Got you.
break
Check
the
1
record
2
at the
1 2.
Qatar
You got me. Check 1 2.
Grand Prix. We got you, Scott. We got you, man. We got you. You got me. Okay, let's go. We got him. We did it. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. You got that Columbus jacket on. You wear that every time. Do you wear that every day, or is it just every time you're on with me?
No, you know what, Rod? I'm wearing it for Bill Simmons. I mean, Bill Simmons going on record as saying he believes the Columbus Blue Jackets are the most irrelevant sports franchise going. I would just invite Bill Simmons out to an NHL game. I think he needs to follow the league a little bit more. I think people in the Buckeye State are probably just a little bit upset at Bill Simmons today. But again, this is maybe a marketing opportunity for that franchise to reach out to Bill Simmons, get him into a building to let him know what we all know, that hockey's the greatest game going.
And we also, we air all across the Buckeye State. We're big in the 3 C's, Cleveland, Cincinnati, and Columbus. They're all watches. They'll be very happy with your jacket today. And I'm also wondering, are you trying to trigger Leaf fans? Is that what you're trying to do with the jackets at the Leafs tonight?
Yeah, you know what? I mean, this will be an interesting game. I think both teams in desperate need of a victory. Toronto, obviously, at this point, just trying to build some momentum. And they've got some key injuries, as we know. And sounds like Stolarz is going to be a little while longer than they expected on the sidelines, and certainly Matthews is not good to go anytime soon, including tonight. So they've got some adversity right now. They were dressing a makeshift lineup in what they got done the other night, courtesy of Tavares and Nylander working their magic. So, yeah, a big 2 points on the line tonight for each club at Scotiabank Arena.
Scott Laughlin with us from SiriusXM NHL Radio. One thing that's new, you know that we air across Canada on Game Plus TV in 32 U.S. states, but we're also now across Nevada on the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network. So I'm going to have to ask you in a second about your take on the Golden Knights. Injuries are a big reason why they're not having the season that they planned yet. But this morning, you brought it up again, the topic of white jerseys at home in the National Hockey League. And in a lot of ways, I feel like you and I are kindred spirits. We see things the same way. Home team should wear white. Did you ever get a reason why they don't anymore? Like a good reason from the NHL?
I really didn't, Rod. You know, I mean, for you and I think we grew up, and that's what we had grown with, and the fact that you just expected the home team to be wearing white. The road darks would come into your building. Everybody would reap the benefits of seeing the great Montreal sweaters, the Red Wings sweaters, et cetera, et cetera. At some point, they decided to change it. I'm guessing maybe to sell more quote-unquote home jerseys. But even if you're a season ticket holder, let's say in a place like Toronto, and you see the Leafs wearing the dark blues each and every home game, you see the roadside coming in wearing white. Anybody I've talked to, they get bored of seeing the home team wearing the same sweater. And if you're going to wear the same sweater as a home team, make it that uniform white and just reap the benefits of all the visiting teams coming through your barn and seeing all the beautiful sweaters and colors that the NHL can bring. So we grew up in a certain era where the home teams wore white. I know somebody maybe a little bit older would say, yeah, but wait a second. Bobby Orr scored that famous goal flying through the air against the Blues back in 1970, and the Bruins were wearing their dark sweaters on home ice. Things switched in the 70s, and when we grew up, obviously that became vintage. This time around, though, it appears that you and I are really not making any sort of an impact with regards to all this, Rod, because nobody seems to be listening, much to our chagrin, right?
As your boy Gordy said, that ship has sailed. But have you ever got a reason? I need a reason.
I didn't. I mean, you know, I was always taught by my dad, Rod. I mean, if you're wondering about anything, you can trace everything back to money, right? Everything is eventually going to get back to the bottom dollar and making money. And I got to think that that's the reason as to why they made the switch. I'm here to say, you're here to say, if they switch it back, you could probably make even more in the way of dollars as far as the NHL teams are concerned.
I've had money people tell me the exact same. Follow the money is the term that I was told. Okay.
Absolutely.
That makes a heck of a lot of sense. Okay, well, here's another one. Everybody in the NHL listens to you guys, so I'm interested. Certainly all my friends are down here in South Florida do, and in Nevada as well. I'm wondering if you had any feedback on your chat about Macklin Celebrini of the Sharks and Connor Bedard of the Blackhawks being a slam dunk to be on Team Canada for the Olympics, because I was listening going, Scotty, I don't think anything's a slam dunk until they load the plane to go to Italy.
No, there's no doubt. I mean, look, injuries are going to happen. Players will fall back. Other players will move forward. And, a couple of weeks ago, we got together and we selected our first editions of Team USA and Team Canada. And for me, for Team Canada, I had Celebrini on the wing with McKinnon at center and Crosby on the right side. Obviously, Crosby and McKinnon are attached at the hip. We know that Macklin Celebrini had some experience playing with Sidney Crosby at the World Championship just a few short months ago. So for me, Celebrini, you can't keep him off. He's got to be on your second line. I would be okay with Connor Bedard on the third line. Now, I've got him play with Braden Point, who's really got to pick it up, and maybe that starts tonight for the Tampa Bay Lightning, and Brad Marchand as well on that third line. So you've got some experienced guys with a guy like Bedard. You can say, well, he's not ready for this sort of thing. He played at the World Juniors, of course, for what? About a tournament and a half, because that first time round, of course, it got blown away after 2 games due to the pandemic. But I think these kids have played on big stages before. And I think that, Rod, at the end of the day, you're going to have enough guys on this team for Team Canada, whether it be the Four Nations or whether it be World Championships or previous instances playing for Canada on this global stage. You're going to have enough guys on this team with enough experience that they've been there and done that. And I don't necessarily think that Celebrini and Bedard, who, let's face it, have been under the spotlight in the microscope basically for the past 7 years or so of their respective lives, I don't think that they're going to be awestruck by playing at the Olympics in February. And I think we would look foolish, Rod. We'd all look foolish, right, as Canadians, if Celebrini and Bedard were not on the team at this point. They're not going to go anywhere. If they remain healthy, they'll be in the top 10 in scoring. And if we omit those players, I think we might be asking for some bad things, some negativity coming our way. And if it doesn't work out, certainly you look back and say, how could you have a couple of high scores like that when you're in need of offense, not on your team? I would say to Doug Armstrong and company, don't make that mistake.
I was ready to move on to non-Olympic talk, but Colin in the nation's capital writes in, he says, are we even sure the arena is finished for the Olympic hockey in Milan? And Brian in Edmonton asks the exact same question. Is the ice rink in Italy finished yet? I saw that Gary Bettman's concerned about this. What do you know about it?
Well, look, all we know is that the NHL, when they sent their contingent over to Sweden for the Global Series with the Predators and Penguins going at it last weekend, they also made a little bit of a stop at Milan, at Italy, because there are concerns right now that the arena is going to be completed on time. And look, you follow all the insiders like I do as well, those that make the calls, those that are in touch with the league personnel, Rod. And from all that we hear right now, there is no plan B, right? So there's no plan B. It is Milan Cortina or it's bust. They're hoping they don't have to deal with bust. My guess would be that they're probably working 23 and a half hours out of every day trying to get those nuts and bolts into the facility to make sure it's completed, because they don't have a backup plan right now. So all eyes are on Italy in more ways than one coming up for February.
Okay. Well, if it has to happen, then it will happen. I'm not spending too much time on that. But about the Golden Knights, as I mentioned, talk about an up and down season, worse probably than they thought. But the injuries are the reason I'm hearing. What are you seeing out of the Golden Knights?
Well, look, they're still in the mix in the Pacific Division. I think I had Anaheim making the playoffs this time around. I didn't expect them to be leading the division at this point. And Los Angeles, let's face it, after they get through the Sharks tonight, the Los Angeles Kings will have played 14 of their first 21 games on the road, where, of course, they've been more or less road warriors. So you've got those two teams in front of Vegas, but the Golden Knights are still in the mix. And it gets back to what you said, Rod, and you don't want to use it as an excuse. I'm sure that they're not going to use it as an excuse. But when you're missing Aiden Hill for as long as they've been missing their number one goaltender, and you're missing arguably still your best all-around player in a guy like Mark Stone, I think that you can understand that, look, this team is going to be fighting the battle right now with maybe just one hand tied behind its back. So I think until they get all hands on deck, it'll still be a a bit of a slog, a bit of a grind for this team. We know that they've got more than enough firepower when they're healthy to compete with the best teams in the league. Right now, given the circumstances, when you look at a team like Edmonton struggling like they've been struggling, trying to figure things out on the fly, maybe Vegas isn't in that bad a position. I really do think that it really boils down to Hill and Stone. And when you're talking about two integral figures like that, two guys who might be back on Team Canada at the Olympics, maybe some proving to do once again, given the number situation for Hockey Canada, Doug Armstrong, to put together this roster. I think when you get all hands back on deck, if and when that happens, Vegas is going to become Vegas once again.
A curveball for you here, but I know you can handle it. Who should be more upset right now, Flames fans or Oilers fans?
I would probably say the Oilers fans should be more upset because the problems in Edmonton are problems that we have seen most recently created by the fact that they lost a couple of key players in the offseason, right? Say what you will about Corey Perry, public enemy number one in every building that he doesn't call home. But he's had a great start and a late start to the season, as we know, with the Los Angeles Kings. But as a 40-year-old, has really not looked out of place at all. In fact, he has thrived at times with Los Angeles. You look at a good all-round forward in Connor Brown going off to New Jersey and Evander Kane moving over to Vancouver. And when you backfill with a couple of young kids, Ike Howard hasn't proven he can play in the National Hockey League right now. Matthew Savoy is still a bit of a work in progress. And like every young player, Rod's still trying to find that consistency. When you lose those players and you backfill with youngsters who aren't ready for prime time, you're going to struggle. The same old defensive problems still, too, with this team, I think still exist when it comes to the deficiencies of Evan Bouchard. I mean, those that are thinking Evan Bouchard should be at the Olympics for Team Canada, I mean, what are we living in here? I mean, what time are we looking at as far as Bouchard's concerned? Defensively, you can't trust him, and he's a great offensive player, as we know, can quarterback a power play with the best of them, but he can't be on Team Canada, and there are nights that he struggles, there's no doubt, including last night against the Washington Capitals. And at the end of the day, Rod, I would say Oilers fans have a right to be upset because the goaltending's still the goaltending. It's the same dynamic duo that they've been placing their lot in life with here the past season plus. When you talk about Pickard backing up a guy like Stuart Skinner, and Stuart Skinner certainly has had a couple of kicks at it. We know the proof is in the pudding right now. Their goaltending is not up to snuff. If they go into the playoffs, should they make the playoffs with this dynamic duo in goal, they're going to come up short once again. So that's the job of Stan Bowman and Jeff Jackson, is to go out there and shake a tree and find somehow, some way to get somebody in that's going to improve your goaltending to the extent that you've got a number one goaltender that you can trust come playoff time. Again, should they make it into the postseason once again.
Well said. Talk about a fun story, a positive story. The Detroit Red Wings. Have they arrived?
Yeah, I think they have. I think that we still haven't seen the best from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I still expect the Lightning, and look, it sounds like Victor Hedman's out for a further couple of weeks too, so some more concern there with regards to Hedman. McDonough certainly has missed some time as well. They've had all kinds of different injuries up and down that lineup, and Vasilevsky has been not as good as he was last season, so I think you add it all up, Tampa Bay is going to be better. Still in a wait-and-see mode when it comes to the Boston Bruins, especially knowing that the surgery's taken place for Charlie McAvoy, which perhaps even leaves him in doubt for Team USA for the Olympics. We'll have to wait and see. And Montreal, obviously, still a young team, off to a great start, have fallen back now, and now they've got to encounter that adversity and come through that challenge as well. So to answer your question, has Detroit arrived? I think they've arrived to a point where they should be in the playoffs, right? They've built up a bit of a buffer here to start the season, 5 games over 500. I think when you saw them get off to the great start, you get excited. Then they fell back, just like the Boston Bruins did. Get off to a great start, fell back, and they've got it going right now, relatively speaking, back in the right direction again. I think they've upgraded in goal with John Gibson, who, if he can stay healthy, and that's a big if, capital letters IF, for John Gibson to stay healthy, he can upgrade their goaltending with Cam Talbot. I think we've seen some maturation from the likes of their young defensemen, and of course, Mo Sauter's still starting to come into his own. And I think up front, you've got a little bit more scoring depth than you had a couple of years ago, too. Todd McClellan, look, I mean, he's leaving nothing out open to interpretation. We know going back to that opener where they laid an egg against the Montreal Canadiens, he called his team out after the first 60 minutes of their season, and it appeared to really get their attention fairly quickly. So they've arrived to the point where I think they should be in the playoffs. As to winning the division, I still think ultimately, because Tampa's got less questions going forward than some of the teams out there, I still think the Lightning are the team to beat.
A good Melville, Saskatchewan boy, Todd McClellan, by the way. But you've seen Detroit's the 5th different team to lead the Atlantic Division this season. It's wild. Absolutely. Okay. I'll end this on football. Did you watch the Grey Cup? You emailed me about my Rough Riders winning. Did you watch it?
Absolutely. Yep.
You enjoy it?
Yeah, I did. I would have liked to have seen Montreal keep pace a little bit earlier in the game. Obviously, Davis Alexander was kind of hanging on by a thread, by a hamstring, as it turned out, by the end of it. And look, I think the right team won, right, Rod? I mean, the Saskatchewan Roughriders were the most consistent team in the Canadian Football League all season long, from start to finish. They had fewer of the ups and downs that some of the teams were going through. And look, in the East, I mean, if Davis Alexander had been healthy all season long, given his record, right, 13-1 now after losing the Grey Cup, then Montreal certainly would have put themselves into a better mind frame going into the Grey Cup. But when he had to be asked, and they had to be asked about the hamstring all week long, it certainly, I think, was a bit of a distraction for that football team. I think Montreal will be back, and certainly I think what Saskatchewan has built with, I think, the best up-and-coming young coach the Canadian Football League has to offer in Corey Mace. I think this team is going to be a team to be reckoned with. I would expect Trevor Harris would come back for at least another season. Those are the early indication as to what's going to happen to him. A.J. Ouellette certainly not going anywhere you wouldn't think. The running attack should be good. Hardrick, obviously, the former Winnipeg offensive lineman, was a big upgrade for them the past couple of years, and he was healthy this season and productive, as we saw. So I just think the consistency was there from Saskatchewan all season long, and in the end, I think the right team won, Rod.
I don't know how the hell you got time to follow all that with all the NHL watching you do. Good job. Way to go. Next time we'll talk about the Cowboys, because that'll take a while. All right. Thanks, Scott. Appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Rod.
Scott Laughlin from Sirius XM NHL Radio, an aggrieved Dallas Cowboys fan just like me. We'll be right back after this.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody, on this Thursday. We've been covering it all, a lot of hockey today and more hockey. We're hearing that's what people like of the Rod Pedersen Show amongst the new viewers. Sports update brought to you by Ultimate Fan Zone, your home for jerseys, collectibles, and all the gear you need. Visit them today or shop online at ultimatefanzone.ca. The quarter mark of the NHL season arrives tonight with a dozen games on the schedule. Here's one. I was in an office the other day doing some business, and Charlene was the receptionist. And she's like, "You're all dressed up? What are you all dressed up for?" I said, "Oh, the Panthers are playing tonight." She's like, "Are they still playing?" Mindful of the fact this is South Florida. I'm like, "No, Charlene. They won it all last year, had the summer off, and now they're playing again." And she's like, "Oh, okay." And here we are, 25% of the NHL season hits tonight. The Edmonton Oilers continue their road trip with a stop at Tampa Bay. And I'll tell you something, is that not just those Edmonton shows do go on for hours and hours and hours of Oilers talk, and I think that's why our numbers here from Edmonton are so high, because we talk about other teams. But I get why they are talked about so much. There's a lot of angst and drama going on with that team. Montreal Canadiens home to Washington. The Toronto Maple Leafs entertain Columbus tonight. Later on tonight, Ottawa visits Anaheim and Vancouver welcomes Dallas. The Vegas Golden Knights are at Utah. I think we're all sitting here waiting for the Golden Knights to get healthy. We have all been discussing that with all of our guests over the last week to 10 days. They're not off to the start that they would like, but they do have a lot of injuries. And that's a topic for another time, not here. But if you talk to any personnel person worth their salt, injuries aren't the best reason for struggling teams. But the Golden Knights have, at least now in season 9, they've earned their stripes. They will be fine. It's more of a football thing. If we don't, I've said it to football personnel people. Do you buy injuries as an excuse? No. Hockey's a little different. See what happens tonight at Utah. A blossoming rivalry there. The Ontario Hockey League's Guelph Storm will host the 2027 Memorial Cup, the Canadian Hockey League announced today. Again, for those that don't know, this is like hockey's version of college basketball. The schedule is like the March Madness Final Four, really, for Canadian Major Junior Hockey. The schedule for the springtime Elite Major Junior Tournament, which features the host team and the champions of the Ontario League, the Western Hockey League, and the Quebec Maritimes League, will be released at a later date. The Quebec League's Rimouski Oceanic, where Sidney Crosby played, hosted this past year's tournament, won by the London Knights of the Ontario League. The Western Hockey League's Kelowna Rockets will host in 2026. From the NFL, Week 12 of the NFL season kicks off tonight in Houston. The Texans will meet the Buffalo Bills. Houston quarterback Davis Mills looking for his third straight win. The backup pivot is filling in for the injured C.J. Stroud. Bills 7-3, Texans 5-5. I saw the Bills favored by 6. That's like the most intriguing part of this game tonight, the point spread. Just 4 games on tap in the NBA. The Raptors are idle after earning their 5th straight win in Philadelphia Wednesday. Orlando welcomes the LA Clippers tonight, and Atlanta visits San Antonio. 76ers back in action at Milwaukee, and Memphis is home to Sacramento. Sports update proudly presented by Ultimate Fan Zone. Get your game day gear in store or online at ultimatefanzone.ca. One more segment coming back as we do it every day. It's called Overtime, and I would love to get your take on all the topics we've been talking about today. The big chunk of the Scott Laughlin interview is what we all came for. But I want to know, have you traveled a long way to watch your favorite sporting team or your kids or your partners and the star wasn't playing? Because that's what's happening in the NBA. We had a lot of stories on that earlier from the viewers. I'd love to hear yours coming back in Overtime. I got mine. I'll retell it if I have to. You are watching the RP Show. We're live across Canada and 32 U.S. states on the Game Plus television network, the Silver State Sports and Entertainment Network across Nevada, YouTube Live, podcast, and you're also tuned in on 1700 AM Mission Radio. One more shot for the text line. 902-518-3033 is the number to reach me here in the studio, and we will be right back after this brief timeout.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs guy through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too. Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge. Big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody, for Overtime, as we do every day, this final segment. Are you looking for the perfect place to perfect your shot? Then head to Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. They got state-of-the-art shooting lanes, top-notch equipment. It's the ultimate training destination for players of all ages and skill levels. And I should tell you, I didn't even really know what a shooting lane was until I went down there and checked it out for the first time at 28th Street, Northeast Calgary. And it's like a bowling lane, but with hockey boards down the side and a net at the end. I know, right? And if you go to the Rod Pedersen Show lane, you'll have a chance to win $500. It's like being at the carnival. If you can shoot the puck through the little slot just under the crossbar, you'll win $500. Some people have done it. Go check it out at Overtime Hockey Lanes in Calgary. Hi, Randy and Michelle. We'll see what we get up to here in overtime. I'm getting a kick out of the social media accounts of a lot of teams. Can we have some fun for a second? Everything's so heavy right now. And if we have time, I'm going to get into a pretty heavy topic here as it relates to sports betting and gambling. But the New Jersey Devils are here tonight visiting the Florida Panthers. And they just tweeted this randomly, the Devils. I quote, "So really, the Florida Panthers should be the Hurricanes, and the Hurricanes should be the Panthers. But that would be confusing with the University of Miami Hurricanes and the Carolina Panthers, but would probably make more sense for the Panthers to be Hurricanes and Hurricanes to be Panthers, but would need to find a way to be different than the other Panthers and Hurricanes. Either way, we visit the Florida Panthers tonight." Yeah, just having fun with it. As confusing as the jersey debate that we were having earlier about why do NHL teams wear their dark jerseys at home. That wasn't the case until the 70s. And actually, I thank Jeff, the Stamps fan, who wrote in here earlier and said that it was 2003 that the NHL made the full-time switch to teams wearing their whites on the road and darks at home. I know most people don't care, but we do. Oh, and on the topic of team names, that's the other thing. There's too many Panthers, there's too many Hurricanes, and my God, there's too many teams named Giants. Original Canadian here, still spend my summers there. You got your San Francisco Giants, you got your New York Giants, and when the Vancouver expansion team was named 20-plus years ago, we were all excited. Was it going to be the Lumberjacks? Something BC? Giants. What? And then the baseball league that I broadcast in, there's a team, the Fort McMurray Giants. I'm like, can you not come up with something a little more original? The Golden Knights really hit it. And if I have this right, they were originally going to be called the Black Knights, but it was trademarked. And they went to the Golden Knights, and could you imagine them being called anything else? And the one thing, my guilty pleasure here, if you're going to sit here and it's going to be just me, then you're going to have to hear my stories. One thing, we all sit as sports people, and maybe the average fan does too, Joe fan, and dream of like owning a team. I think a lot of fans dream of being the general manager of a team. I know they do. Most people do, actually. Or be the coach. I don't really get into that. If I want to do it, I'm going to own it. And what I would love to do is, I have no idea, producer Corey, why you just wrote that in the. I'm not going to repeat it, but it's funny. I don't think I can say it on air. What you just said in the chat. But anyways, I would like an expansion team in the National Lacrosse League. And what's interesting is you got your Vegas Diamond Dogs, Desert Dogs. Diamond Dogs was a baseball team. Desert Dogs in Las Vegas of the National Lacrosse League. Toronto has, I never know where they're playing. The Toronto Rock moved to Hamilton, then they moved to, was it Brampton? Either way, I really love the National Lacrosse League. And if I thought more people cared, I would talk about it more on this show. Got a lot of friends in the league. So back to the team name thing. If I had my druthers and I could wave a wand, I would have an expansion team in the National Lacrosse League. It would be here in Florida. We would play out of a Merritt Bank Arena. I actually think this could happen, quite frankly. And it would be called the Florida Wave. And our colors would be turquoise and orange with a little gold mixed in. Yeah, I've actually thought about it. But it would be the Wave. There's really only one other team that I know of called the Tulane Green Wave in college football, Tulane University in New Orleans. It's the only other team. I just don't understand. You're getting an expansion team. You pay all this money. You want to sell all these jerseys, and you go with the Giants? Yeah, I don't quite get it. Anyways, not to be a downer on this, but this caught my eye. I'm reading from the Canadian Press Sports Newswire. Rob Kilner's clients carry gambling debts ranging from a few $1,000s to more than $250,000. One lost $250,000 on sports betting apps this year. Another spent $100,000 over 2 years, with his partner in the dark for most of it. While these sums are above average, Kilner has watched both his tally of clients and the depth of their gambling debts balloon in recent years. The rise of online sports betting and casino apps has yielded big profits for gambling companies, but insolvency and psychology experts warn of dire consequences for a growing number of Canadians, young men in particular, and recommend counseling, a payback plan, and self-examination for those needing to dig themselves out of debt. So all I'm saying, the reason I'm reading that is it's what nobody wants to talk about. We all watch sports. We're all affected by the ads. That's the idea of them. And not everybody is able to do it safely. It says here nearly 1 in 3 adults aged 18 to 29 place bets online, according to the poll, which was based on data from more than 8,000 respondents. So I guess I'll say when you get in deep, when you get in a hole, stop digging and don't be afraid to tell somebody, or else the hole just gets way bigger. And thanks for coming to my TED Talk. And I'm not sure why I felt the need to read that. Something came over me. Thank you to Scott Laughlin. Thank you, producer Corey. Thank you, Kevin the Medium. It's a Football Friday tomorrow, talking all levels of football. Plus, Moose will join us to preview the Vanier Cup. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow right here.
That.